Hi and welcome to another part of Java by example. And today we are going to look at parsing some files and working with different inputs. And before we had this CSV file that we are reading using this code and just printing it out, and today we are going to look at creating actual animal objects of this input data. And when I looked at these classes cat and dog, I realized that we have some redundancy here. We actually are having the same amount of code and the actual same code in both dogs and cat. So I thought we could move all this code into the animal class. So we have a public animal constructor, string name, and so on. Let's see here, we can put this code in so I remember it. String birthday, string color, and int. No, float. Wait, that's another thing I realized, that I just have the wrong values there. So let's see here, we have super constructor that takes name, birthday, color, weight, and that weight should actually be a float, because a cat and dog could weigh some 1.5 kilos, for instance. So in the cat we are actually just passing these values to the parent, or the super object in this case. So let's say that for a dog and cat, handle the name, birthday, color in the animal class, so we don't have to write this code multiple times. So this seems to work fine. The errors you saw earlier was because I actually created an animal constructor that I didn't call from cat or dog, and I didn't override in cat and dog. And if you have a constructor in a subclass, it either has to override the parents, all the parents constructors, or call one of them. Because in my case I removed the first constructor that every class has. Every class has an empty constructor that looks a little bit like this. So if you say public animal, no inputs, and it's empty, this constructor will always be there unless you create another constructor. Because if I create my own constructor, that means that I have defined a constructor, and that will remove this default constructor. So in that case this will not be there. And the error I got was that because I didn't call any super method, I didn't call any constructor in the super class, because in every subclass you also have this implementation deferred, so you don't have to type super to call your super. So there's a bit of magic that makes life easier, that you don't have to specify some things that the language actually defer for you, but you need to have those things in mind when you are creating new constructors, that these default constructors will be removed. So let's go into the actual code here that parses the data or reads data from the file, and now we are going to take this list of data that I called animal data, but it's actually a data list, because that we don't actually know that these are animals yet. We only got a few lines of data from a CSV file that we have taken all the data and parsed it to a different mapped it to a map, but we actually don't know that these are actual animals. So now we have to create animals from these. So let's create a list of animal, and that's an animal list, and that's new array list animal. So there we have our animal list, and then we remove this, put here. And now to check what type of animal we got, we'll first have to check the data row that we have an animal type specified. Then we can look at the contain key of animal. Oh, sorry, you can see here. Contains key, I think the method is called animal type, and if it doesn't contain that key, then we just continue. We don't care. Let's see here, I missed a semicolon somewhere. Why is it still typing all these expected? Try with this contain key. No. Let's see here, if statement. The right amount of parentheses, we have a continue statement. So let's check here if we have the string Java. So here, string implementation in Java. Then we have contains, should be up here somewhere. Contains char sequence. No, it's not the string I'm looking at. We should look at the map. Java map implementation, of course. The string is what we want to look at later. Contains key, object key, and that's just a boolean. So let's go back here. Let's see. Contains key, data row contains key. If not, contains key animal type. Seems like this should work. Weird. Why didn't it like... Okay. Double quotes. Apparently, single quotes is... Perhaps I've written too much JavaScript and other languages. Perhaps you can't use the single quotes. Please inform me in the comments if I have missed something there. Then we should write an if statement and check if it's what kind of dog it actually is. So we get the animal type and compare to, in our case, a dog. And if it's a dog, then we should create a new animal. I think after we know the animal type, we could create an animal that is of type null, because we want an animal, but we don't know which kind of animal. And if we know that it's comparing this animal type to a dog, then we will create an animal of type dog. And I want to do this. I want to put the data row here, because I want the dog class to handle all the mapping, because I don't really care about the mapping part of this exercise. In this class, I want each of the I want the cat to be aware of its properties, I want the dog to be aware of its properties, and so on. So if the do animal type here as well. This should create exceptions, because we can't actually just create new cats and dogs with the data row, because we haven't defined that yet. Let's see here. Oh, I got an H in the end of my line of my file. There we have those errors. We can't actually create a new cat and dog just out of thin air, and we need to compare cat and dog. And while we compare cat and dog, we want to know if they are equal to cat and dog, because a compare is actually checking if this is equal to, lesser, or greater than. And in a string compare like this, you will actually compare every letter. So if you have dog and cat, then probably cat will be less than dog, and so on, because C is before it in the alphabet. So in this case we are just checking for equality, so that in a compare function you check if something is lesser than, then you will have an minus value back, or -1. If it's greater than, you will have a 1, and if it's equal, you will have 0. And many people also like to do this, that you put the string first, so you have the actual string that it's that you create, and is a static string, and it's also an immutable string. You put that first, and then you do a compare to the data string. And the nice part of that kind of comparison is that you don't get the error that an animal type isn't defined, an animal type doesn't have a value, and if it doesn't have a value, you get null value, and you can't call the compare to function on a null value. So many people think that this is a far less error prone way to type code. I usually start with the data and try to be aware of all the different values the data could have, and then check for those values. But depending on how you want to write your code, you can either write it this way or the first way. So now we get errors in our command window over here, and those errors are because of, as I said before, that we don't have those constructors yet. So now we have to go into, we can copy this information here, and then we say that an animal could take this constructor as well. So we see here animal animal takes a map, which is a data row, and then we need all these setters again, and I will just say that if data row contains key name, then we set the name of the data row. Data row get name, so that's the first one. Then we have birthday, a color, and the width. And those have the same name, birthday, color, and weight. So there we have implemented the first one. See here, and I think I did the same as before. We used single quotes. It seems that double quotes are required because I get this error every time. But single quotes are so easy to write, so it's an easy mistake to do. See here, double quotes, and I think it's, see here, map string data row. Oh, we need to import the Java util map. See here. Convert it to float. Yes, that's of course. So here we need to do float, parse, float. So we get from the string we actually get in, we will get the float out. So now we still have two errors. Dog in class dog cannot be applied to a given type, and cat cannot be applied to a given row. So in that case, we have the problem that we haven't defined those constructors yet. So we could do just like this. Cat super data row. So that should override that one, and dog should have the same. Dog and import Java util map. Let's put it on cat as well. Let's see here. Oh, did I save it? Nope. So now we have no more errors in logs. And if we are, if we take our list of animals that we have created, we could do for animal in the list of animal list. We could loop through these animals and just do animal print. Didn't get the result. I thought we should get some values out of that. Strange, because we have animals. Ah, of course, my fault. Animal list, of course, we have to add the animals to the list, or else we just have an empty list. That's strange. So, here we go. Now we have cats and dogs typed out, and we have all the cat data and all dog data. Except for one thing, we don't actually write out the correct hairballs per day or walks per day, because in our classes where we override some information, we haven't parsed those values out. So we need to do that as well. So here we go. This hairballs per day should equal integer parse int data row get hairballs per day. So that should give us all the hairballs, but we could have, in some weird file instances, we could have a cat that actually don't have any hairballs per day. So we need to check that data row contains the key of hairballs per day. And if it doesn't contain that key, we will continue. No, we will return. So then we will not process hairballs per day. So that's the cat fixed, and now we will fix the dog as well. The dog has walks per day. That's the value. And it's also an int. So there we have fixed walks per day and the hairballs per day. And we have parsed all the data, created different animals. We have used the extends and the parent object and the actual instantiated object. We have used, in our print class, we have created a list of animals, and we put both cat and dog in this list. And we have used the overridden function of print to print all the data from both the cats and the dogs without caring which animal it is. We just say this is an animal, and an animal could print something. So therefore, when I say animal print, it will call either the cat function print or the dog function print or method print to give the data for us. So that should be it for today. Thanks so much, and please subscribe if you like this content.